So, funny story. So, I was just making this video for myself to review, and I was having sort of an internal discussion or dialogue with myself about my journey that I plan to take when I do some traveling to South America, Peru, and Colombia, possibly Bolivia, maybe Ecuador. I don't know. Depending, we'll see. We're going to go with the flow on that. But I'm considering buying a drone, because I was hoping to share this experience with others, and I saw some benefits to having a drone. And, be it like right now I have this camera in my hand, in my phone, and I have it turned backwards because, the image quality is better, but I can't really see if I'm centered in the image or, whatever. I'm not even sure if I'm going to share this video right now. It's just more, I want to see myself, and what, because I used to do a video diary, or this was before all this social media stuff, where when I would watch it back at a later time, I would be in a different physical, emotional, or different kind of space, like mentally. So I would get a different perspective on my own views. So right now I'm trying to determine if I'm distracting myself from my goal, which is essentially freedom from obligation. You know what I'm saying? Freedom from paying for this, or I haven't really articulated that part yet in my mind, but just freedom, like separation from this psychological environment, where everybody's sort of in a rat race. And I do feel that the energies that you're surrounded by affect you. So I'm looking to separate myself from that in some regard. So the reason I was considering the drone is because, like what I said earlier about the camera, having to hold it and it's kind of awkward or whatever. And plus you can get some really beautiful, I was going to say cool, which is a word that I'm not really fond of, I guess. Some beautiful images, from high up of these places that are considered, majestic. And I guess in a way it's different, like when someone or someone that you view, be it on YouTube or whatever, is experiencing or telling you their viewpoint versus just, the example of, like if say you saw an 4K image on TV, like it's beautiful, but it doesn't really offer an individual context. It's just an image, like a commercial image, that's meant in some way to show you some beauty, but also to manipulate you into buying this TV that you're seeing it on. So, I guess what I'm looking for myself internally, like I said, I'm going to do some meditation on this to try to determine if it would be a benefit or if it would be, detrimental, maybe not detrimental, but a distraction from the goal of this journey at large. And I'm working not to be distracted. So, and this, when I talked in that other video about looking at your decisions, it's not always looking at the bad decisions that you made, but after you make them, to determine whether or not they serve your highest purpose. It's also looking at the decisions before you make them to determine whether or not they serve your highest purpose. So this is why, and I said I'm not sure. Maybe if you're watching it, then I shared the video. But I guess the reason if I do share it would be because I think I wanted to share an example of how difficult the struggle should be. I mean, if you want to know yourself, you should really, because this drone is like a $1,500 drone. And if I could live in Colombia for like 2 months on that if I wanted to, or some other country for 2 months on that money, living a minimalist lifestyle, where I'm, just sort of going about my day and, engaging people in an open kind of way and working to to raise my vibration as possible, and possibly the people's vibrations around me. You know what I'm saying? So it's certainly a perplexing situation, because I considered buying this DJI Mavic Pro probably about 3 months ago. And when I thought about it, you know, being that I'm living here in Washington, I was like, well, yeah, there's some places I could probably go get some cool images. They got some nice forests and, you know, that kind of stuff. And I thought about it, and I was like, well, shit, man, if I buy this thing, there's a good chance it'll be like a lot of other things that I buy that don't end up getting used, you know, like they end up sitting around, and, you know, you get very minimal value, you know, where it might take a whole week to make $1,600, you know what I'm saying? And you might use it 3 times, you know, and then something else comes to distract you. Like I got a homeboy I work with who he's bragging about all his toys and he's good, his life is happy. And I'm glad for him. I want him to be, you know, but I told him, I said, look, man, you're here working, you're retired already, and you're still here working with me. And you got all these toys that you're so happy about and you can brag about, but yeah, you don't get to play with them because you got to wait for somebody to play with. You know what I'm saying? All your friends are younger than you and they all work. So this is conversations I have with him. So, you know, all that money, all those resources, you know, I won't say you threw them away, but you spent thousands upon thousands of dollars for things that you're getting very little use of. And as an example for myself, like one thing, when I realized this for myself, I was like, you know, when it's probably 10 years ago or so. Yeah, it's 10, maybe 12 years ago, I had bought a Nissan Frontier. And, you know, I was still stuck in the 90s, and I was like, man, I'm about to put the 22s on this. I was nowhere near as, you know, conscious or aware as I am of my own things. But at some point after I was paying, you know, I had the bumps in it or whatever you want to call it, sound system. At some point I realized that I was paying $700 a month for a vehicle I didn't drive very much because, you know, I like to recover. You know what I'm saying? You go to work 10, 12 hours a day, whatever it is. I wasn't going that many places. I'm not a driver. Like I probably have more miles than most people in the world, but it's mostly because I do it for work. But in my personal life, having a vehicle that cost me that much money a month was not beneficial to my existence. So I was like, let me get rid of this car. Let me sell this truck. As soon as it was worth more than I owed, I sold it. You know, it was pretty nice. You know, 22s and the sounds in the back, whatever you want to call it. But that's the evaluation that I now try to make with all my decisions in life, is whether or not this decision is really going to have the impact that I expect it to have versus some imaginary thing, you know, like some perception that, oh man, this thing right here is going to make me happy, or I'm going to enjoy, you know, because not only my laptop got stolen about 3-4 months ago, out of my work truck, no less. And so if I buy this drone, then now there's another $1,500 that I have to buy a laptop so that I can edit the video, which I don't even know how to do. So now I'm spending less time meditating or growing internally, and I'm spending more time manufacturing projections that are minutely relevant to this journey that I'm on. So I think I'm coming to a conclusion on you know, it's hard though, because it's something I want it, and I feel compelled to want it because I feel like there could be something gained from it. However, as I consider it, I see all of these other possibilities that are detrimental to the goal, the actual journey that I'm taking. So I'm going to do some meditation and meditating on it. And this is what really meditation is for, where you separate yourself. And this is a kind of meditation. It's a kind of therapy. Me having this conversation with this camera, you know, to actually look at later, with, you know, to see, hopefully when I'm in a different space, mentally, emotionally, physically, whatever you want to call it, and see where if I can decipher where the true motivations are when I'm in a different space, you know what I mean, versus right now when I'm sort of consumed by it, and I feel this urge to just buy this thing because I'm like a big kid and it's a toy and I want to play with it, you know what I'm saying? And so with that being said, here we are. Apologize, I don't look at the camera when I'm speaking because for some reason I have the same thing when I communicate with people. My mind processes better or more accurately when I'm looking off into nothing versus when I'm focused on trying to engage this particular circumstance. So hopefully this is, beneficial to me or, to somebody else if I decide to share it. So I think I'm done. If this video was beneficial to you, please like and share or subscribe. Hit the bell if you want to be notified of my videos. And this is funny because whenever I see other people do that, I see people talk about donating, if you want to donate money to my journey or whatever. And it really offends me. It feels so like a beggar. And even when I'm saying it now, I feel uncomfortable saying it because, it's, how do you say, it doesn't feel, I feel like it's tarnishing my authenticity that I want someone to care about what I'm doing, when ultimately a lot of times I'm always saying how I don't care what people think about what I'm doing. So there is the paradox, the contradiction, the as above so below state, or actually the duality, the polarity, I don't know. Anyway, so I guess I'll figure that out later. Cool. Don't subscribe. Don't like. I hate this. It's really awkward, man. It's really awkward to spill some of yourself into this, and then, have it be critiqued by others. Is really, but when you feel like you have something to offer, and while there may be 50 people that look at it and go, I can't say 50 because I got 12 subscribers, but when you feel like, I lost my train of thought there, or when you feel like you're doing things for people and it's 11 other people may hate it, but if one person gets something from it, it's was it worth it? And of course it's worth it if anybody, is able, if I'm in any way a beacon of light that allows someone to see some growth within themselves on any level, then of course I should be grateful for that. But those other 11 people that are man, nigga, you full of shit. But excuse my French, I shouldn't. I'm trying to keep this PG, I guess, because I'd like it to be, helpful to people in a positive way versus, me sort of playing games and talking jibber jabber. So anyway, I'm gonna leave it at that.